What's up, everyone? Welcome to Anime on Draft episode 199, the penultimate episode before the big 200.
We're getting up there.
Getting up there. I'm your host this week, Rolando, joined by Mark, also known as the guy in the One Piece sweater.
Hello. I'm here.
How's it going, Mark?
It's going very swell.
Very swell.
Yeah.
I heard you had some issues with your place and some raccoons.
Yeah, man. A raccoon was trying to live under my place, starting to nest, possibly pregnant, and was like ready to give birth. So we caught it, and it will now be delivered to the mountains and set free. So
is that a euphemism, or are they really going to bring it to the mountains?
No, they're actually... I mean, that they tell me that they're going to take it to the mountains, you know, that's all I can hope for. The guy was like, well, if they didn't already have like its babies under your place, like we'll set it free. But like if it had already given birth and there's like babies under your place or something else is going to come here, I'll have to bring it back. So that way, like, you don't separate the family. I was like, oh, that's nice. So
yeah, so you're gonna have to live with the family of raccoons.
So they're gonna have to stay here. No, no. I mean, well, hopefully that's the extent of it, and you know, the raccoon mama can be off on its merry way with its little youngins.
Well, yeah. That's a happy little ending to a very odd story. So it's like, yeah, if you've been following our podcast for the last couple of weeks, you probably have heard.
Yeah, you heard my dog.
Mark's dog going nuts. Just wondering, like, do you have like an animal like in your place or something? Like, is he smelling something? And
yeah. Pay attention to your dogs. They're great at sensing things. So he was just trying to tell me something. He's like scratching underneath the cabinets, like in the corner in the closet. Yeah, he knew something was up. So yeah, he was a good boy.
Yeah, and good look at him. He's taking a little nice little rest after all that hard work.
Yeah, he was excited yesterday when we caught it. Like, he could hear it scratching. He was like running around. Like, he was looking happy as hell. It was great.
Like, yes, I did it.
He's like, yeah.
All right. Well, first up, we have our beer this week. Is this our third year in a row that we've been doing the Waldos?
I think so, yeah.
So yeah, we have the Waldos Special Ale 2021 edition. Triple IPA, and this is something we look forward to every year. Mm-hmm. I mean, Alec liked one of them, right?
I think so. I think he liked the first one, and second one I think he was okay with. I don't know if he's going to enjoy this one as much.
Because just from the smell, it smells like
no IPA.
Yeah, it smells like...
I thought the first one was pretty good. Maybe not the second.
Like the type of IPA that Alec doesn't enjoy. Just from the smell.
It tastes pretty in your face.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Good first impression. But yeah, this week we've got a few topics. We've got the second week of our 3-episode rule. We're going to be covering Osomake, Bishonen Tanteidan, and 86. And then later on in our happy hour, we will be talking about large age gap in romance. Not just in general, but like in anime, manga, light novels. Because 2 of the shows this season are covering this sort of topic. One is like the seinen take, and then one is the josei take. So we've got Higehiro and Koikimo. So it'll be interesting to kind of compare those 2 shows and how they handle a large age gap in a romance. And yeah, so why don't we start off with our 3-episode rule? And let's start off with the show that we have the first episode of, and that is Osomake, the rom-com where the childhood friend won't lose. So this show, I'm gonna be honest with you, I almost turned it off like 3 minutes in.
Okay, I wasn't the only one. I thought it was over like at halfway point when they're like, let's get revenge. Yeah. And I was like ready to turn it off there. I was like, oh, thank God this is over.
Yeah.
And then it kept going.
I was wondering like how you guys saw it. I know I talked to Alec a bit and he said he was fine with it and he liked it. But for me, I was like, oh, is this another one of those shows where it's just going to be it's like the Drew special, right? So it's like this is the type of show where like he enjoys it because it's so ratchet, but this is because this is to be a lot. It reminds me of Masamune-kun's Revenge, but to a whole different extreme.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of those shows that ticks boxes in like, you know, writing a prompt and plots. It's like, oh, we need to hit on these certain things like childhood friend, like, oh, they're cheating, or they're like their friend is also like a womanizer, and it's like got all these like certain things inside of an anime, and it like has no like fluidity to it at all. Like it doesn't string together. It's just all this mashup of just random things that need to be in this anime.
Yeah, and the thing that worries me the most about this, so it's like the basic premise of the show is we've got this guy and he likes this one girl that is supposed to be like this Miss Perfect or whatever. So like she's like an actress, a gravure model, a novelist. It's just like all these things where you're just like, what the fuck? Like this is your typical like light novel type main heroine or whatever. But somehow we're supposed to believe that she was leading him on and he needs to exact revenge. So like, is that on purpose that they didn't show us any of that? Because I'm like, how am I supposed to believe that he was rejected in like a terrible way?
Yeah, even the childhood friend was like, oh, you got shot down. He's like, oh, no, not really. I was like, yeah, well, you didn't even confess or anything. She just started going out with somebody and you feel dejected by that. Like, yeah. Okay. Sorry. You need to grow up. Like, I'm sorry the girl of your dreams didn't even choose you, even though you didn't confess or anything.
Oh yeah, Alex, right. He's the guy. The main guy is a genius former childhood actor,
which came out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah. I had a feeling it was going to be something like that, but the thing is, like, there's like one woman in like the picture with him in there, and it kind of looks like the main girl, like she could be related to the main girl. So I'm like, fuck, are they going to pull some sort of shit where they call it the rom-com where the childhood friend doesn't lose or won't lose, and just all of the love interests end up being some sort of childhood friend to him? I
have a feeling that's what they're going, because it would make sense, like why he's so obsessed and in love with this girl, or at least like, you know, where this is kind of stemming from. But yeah, I have a feeling that's what it's gonna be.
And it's just that scumbag type of move where you're just like, guess what? She's not the only childhood friend. So is she. And so is this one. And so is the guy.
And so is this guy.
And so is the best friend guy that is a womanizer but really isn't. No, I'm just kidding. But I think
true harem.
The other thing that I can kind of see coming with this show is that the girl that he's interested in, I can't even remember the names of these characters, but I have a feeling that yeah, she looks like Mai from Bunny Senpai, but I have a feeling that the whole going out with the other actors is an act in itself, and it's like her own ploy to get the dude jealous or whatever.
Oh, you think? I feel like it's like one of those like calculated moves type of thing. Yeah, maybe that would make sense.
It's just kind of dumb. But
yeah,
I mean,
I was thinking it's one of those like you do it to gain like popularity type of a thing. Like, oh, like two childhood stars are going out.
So clout chaser is what you're saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
That would be interesting too.
Probably makes sense.
But it would be interesting if they were just using it as a means to like just use each other. But yeah, I don't know. I see Alec is saying in chat, for me, the revenge part on the hill was annoying. then it was fine after that. What made me know I won't watch it after his whole weird as fuck monologue on the roof and childhood act reveal. Yeah. It just feels a little bit too absurd. But like the way they're playing into the absurdity doesn't really feel like the typical you know how like certain shows have that feel where like you can buy into the absurdity of it. Like like one of those shows is like Sayakano, which ironically same male voice voice actor for the main protagonist, but in that you can like agree, like you could feel there's like a weird satirical aspect to that show, so you get the absurdity. And then
it's one of those things where you feel like a show is sort of taking itself too seriously, even though it's based on like sort of a joke premise.
Yeah.
In certain shows, it's fine. Like Gamers, for instance, it's like, okay, like the entire show is like, you know, it's a comedy and it's sort of a joke, but like this romance is sort of budding, but it's still sort of like like jokey in nature.
So when it feels absurd at moments, like it
yeah,
just feels
you
natural.
know it's like going to be absurd. But in this, it's like, okay, it's kind of absurd, but they're kind of serious about this. And this whole revenge thing is like their serious take on, oh, like we gotta exact revenge and that's how we're gonna be happy in the end. Like, wait,
I think
no, that's dumb.
part of the reason why it feels that way might have to do with the music.
Interesting.
So it's like normally you can get like the tone of a show through the music, and I feel like I don't really remember the music in this episode, but I just knew that something in the background kind of felt off, where I was just like, why are they like going with this absurdity thing, but like it just doesn't feel like, it feels like they're trying to be serious. So
yeah. Sort of gave me the same feeling of what's the show that we all hated last season, and I just like already deleted it from my mind, about the kid who was trying to be a normie.
Oh, yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
Okay.
Something Kun.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh man. Alex just said, "Did this episode have music?" Fuck,
you know what I mean? You know what show I'm talking about. Anyways, that show had like some ridiculous music in it, and it just couldn't pay attention to what was going on because the music just didn't match the tone of the show at all.
Yeah, it was like super sitcom-y, but like they were trying to actually be a bit more serious in that show. So that's why it was just like, why are they mixing all these like
it's weird
genres? I don't know. Maybe that's the type of tone that the music gives off in Japan. Maybe it could be a cultural difference.
It's all this like canned music, or you know, you gotta use copyright free music. So let's pick this like background music that just has like accordions and like random like folk music going on, even though it doesn't match anything that's showing on screen.
You know what it reminds me of? When we watched Sing Yesterday for Me. And there was that whole episode where it started off and like with the Seinfeld slap bass like synth piano thing, and I was
like all I could think about.
It's all I could think about. It was just like, fuck. Like it reminds me of when we did the whole like added the laugh track to the whole scene of the thing.
That's what I was expecting. If it had like some, you know, just random laugh tracks, or if there was actual like gags or like comedy in the show, I feel like it would be a lot funnier. It would probably be tolerable. But there's this feeling that I get that it's trying to be too serious and it's not working.
Yeah, it just feels like it should be cool. It's titled, it's a rom-com, but the comedic timing is poor.
So poor. Yeah, I didn't laugh at all in this entire episode. I think the only time I laughed was, or like I was laughing at what actually happened, was like when the childhood friend was like whispering in his ear.
Oh
and
yeah,
he just runs out.
And he just runs away.
Yeah, I was like, of course.
I'm sorry, I can't have this. And he just runs away.
Yeah, I was like, all right, yeah, of course he's gonna fucking run away.
I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this show, because it's like, I just have a feeling there, like somehow it's gonna be one of those things where gonna be like thinking or like rooting one way, and then they're just gonna purposely fuck with you and then do something completely different, so that you're like, oh, why did I waste my time with this?
There's the gimmick.
Yeah.
It goes back to that, all these rom-com shows or certain shows need to have a gimmick.
Like, what was that one from
fresh.
was that last year or like a year and a half ago? It was the one where the dude, there was like the girl with the glasses that like is secretly hot or whatever, and then she's like hiding herself from, like, it was like some weird thing. I remember like there was that show, but I feel like that show executed itself better because they pulled more on the like the comedy and absurdity in the whole situation, even though that dude got completely just messed up in terms of like shit that would hit your mentality.
Bottom tier character to Osaki.
Yeah, that was the one from last season, but the one from like last year, I keep forgetting the name.
I don't know.
Oh, it was like, are you the one? You're the one that loves B, I think is that one.
Yeah.
The girl with the glasses likes him and confesses to him, but he's like, who are you? But then he finds out she's hot. He's like, oh, but I still have my reservations because I like these other girls that kind of backstabbed me, but now they like me. It's like, what kind of stupid premises is this? But yeah,
that's the show. The show is awful. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I dropped after a couple of them. It's like, you can't do this anymore.
That's just the state of rom-coms. Light novel rom-coms.
Light novel rom-coms. It's sad. It sort of reminds me of like the Cuckoo's, what is it?
Oh, the Cuckoo's fiance.
Yeah. Which is probably only a matter of time until that gets an adaptation. Yeah.
I don't know. I dropped the manga after the first few chapters on that. I don't know about you.
I think we both dropped it around the same time.
Because I just couldn't stand the developments that were happening, or I was like, it's gonna really go the cliche route and then like do this thing, and I started to get irritated.
There's some reveals where it's like you could see it coming from a mile away, and then once it happens, it starts turning exactly into what you think.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't need any more of this.
That's maybe why they gotta have gimmicks. Have these just weird switches of the main character or the female love interest is actually a childhood friend. They're all childhood friends.
Oh, they're all childhood friends.
So nobody will lose.
Which is why I feel like that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Even though you see it from a mile away, but they're going to pull it anyway. They're going to pull that card.
I mean, as soon as the first childhood friend showed up in the very beginning of this, I was already like, oh, they're going to pretend to go out.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's like, you know that she has like this like undying crush on him because she's the childhood friend, and that he's going to be like, no.
Yeah. He's gonna, and
everyone's going to be pissed off because like they're like, oh, like you've got like the school idol like confessing to you and blah blah blah, but like you're just a dumb shit. And it's like, yeah, you actually kind of is, but but then again, he can have his own reservations and feelings. Like if he doesn't want to go out with somebody, like he's known her forever, so it's like maybe he just doesn't feel romantic feelings. It's fine, but like it just continues to go down this route where. It's the standard cliche fare.
That trope. Like I said, just gotta tick off the boxes. Childhood friends in love with him, but he's not going to reciprocate those feelings.
Now, what would be great is like the title of this could still be correct if he ends up confessing to the childhood friend and she turns him down.
Oh.
And then gets with the other girl.
And then gets with the girl.
Yeah.
Dang. They were actually childhood friends the whole time, too.
Yeah.
Damn.
They both are actors or actresses, and they've been playing the straight card this whole time just to mess with him because he did something to them in the past that made them want to get revenge.
This is great. I'm already sold.
Someone get me that book deal. I'll sell the premise only. I won't give you any actual content or writing. Just the premise.
What's the gimmick though?
The gimmick the gimmick is in the premise.
Oh.
He's led along, then he gets rejected after he falls in love with a childhood friend, and then the two girls get together.
No, Alec, I don't think they can do that.
Did you know we are all each other's childhood friends? Oh, nice. Good job, Alec. All right. Moving on from Osamake, sorry. Let's move on to Bishonen Tanteidan episode 2. So this show is just the Shaft experience. You got the Shaft visuals and all of the just words appearing on screen, and like just the imagery on top of like the verbal imagery is the best way I could describe it.
The title, like the inner place title cards, is kind of weird. It gets really annoying.
Yeah, it's just literally just highlighting something that they had just said.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a break in what is supposed to be flowing like within the plot, but it literally just like shows you what has just been said. Like,
it's explicit subliminal messaging.
Yeah. Whereas with like Monogatari, it's like things will pop on the screen as somebody is saying them, but sometimes you have enough time to read it, or you don't even have to read it. Like you don't.
That's actual subliminal.
That's that's actual subliminal.
Because they're not always saying, it's not always saying what the character is saying at the time, but like it's saying something either related to it. So it's like you're not even supposed to be able to read all of it. That's what makes it subliminal.
Right. But in this show, it's like it feels like a title card, like, oh, we have a change of scenes, or we have a change of locations or something. So it's like my mind immediately like breaks. Like I'm like, oh, something new is happening, but it's literally just a continuation of the same conversation.
Yeah, I kind of feel like because they made it all, it looks like what happens when it's a title card, like you said. It makes you feel like there is that break, and so you're like, okay, so like we're going on to like a new thing, right? No, it's just mid conversation, rather than if it was just like a black screen and like the word, kind of like what they did in Monogatari, then you would probably be like, okay, like they're just like highlighting
emphasis or something.
Yeah, emphasis.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like you said though, like the show is visually stunning. Like I enjoy watching the show. I could probably just watch the show and not listen to anything going on. And
be fine.
Just be like, oh, this is pretty cool to watch. It's interesting.
Yeah, just had to take a little stop at Deluxe Bar and and get some great food and drink.
Adonis's legs. That's all you needed in the show.
Yeah, I thought the absurdity in this show. See, this is a show where the absurdity works, right? Because like kind of what to expect from a Shaft show like this, and also just a Nisio Isin type story.
Yeah, you know what you're getting into. I mean, just by the first episode, it's like, okay, this is going to be that show. Like, it's going to be all over the place, which is fine. Like, I think it's fun to watch too. Like, I'm not bored. I think the plot itself is where I get bored, and I'm so uninterested in what is actually going on. I'd rather just watch it. Like, look at it, I should say.
Yeah. But one thing I did notice with the show was that in the opening sequence, we have the girl that I don't remember her name because I keep thinking in my head that her name is Haruhi, but that's
Mayumi.
That's Oran's
Dojima.
Main heroine, even though it's the same voice actress.
Haruhi.
But they still like make her cross dress as a boy, as a pretty boy. It was only a matter of time.
Second episode.
It happens in the second episode. And then as soon as they go make the whole spectacle, they're like, oh, she's too beautiful, but like too normal. Like she has to have like a beautiful girl at her side. And it's like, he's going to cross dress as a girl. I knew that was going to happen, but it was actually kind of interesting how they tied that into the whole like Cinderella thing. It's like, why are you guys helping me when there's no merit like to it? Like, what do you, like, I don't deserve any of this type of thing or like support. And then like she compares it to like Cinderella. It's like Cinderella, like she didn't do anything but like got all this help, but then he like rephrases, I forgot the name of the blue-haired guy, but like
Manabu or something.
I just know he's the leader of the club, but he rephrases it in like, and so like it's just that shift in perspective where you're like, if you look at like, depending on how you look at things, you can pull a different interpretation out of it, right? So it's like Mayumi is looking at this whole Cinderella story and how it reflects her, as like she didn't even like really do anything, but like she gets the prince and like all this, but then he's just like, well, if you look at how much she's like Cinderella suffered, it doesn't that like in turn like grant her like the ability to have happiness and all this stuff. And then so it's like, oh, so it's like he's turning the script, right? Or like he's turning the tables on her.
Turntables.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like that's an interesting like perspective on it, which is fine for the situation that they're in. Like, yeah, I guess it's very applicable to her, and especially because they are just helping her. I don't see how this like really pertains to like bigger picture.
I don't either, but
it's like a good allegory to, or a good is it allegory the right word? Yeah, it's like a good way to compare this, but I don't know how this is going to impact the future.
I don't know either, because kind of the way it's playing out is like, this is obviously the introductory story arc, and eventually we'll get into a point where she's like a part of the club, and it just feels like it's just kind of odd, like her story. And like I kind of knew coming into this second episode, and like the way they had been describing things, I was like, she saw a satellite. Like there's no like other way to like describe it. It's like she saw a satellite like burning up in the atmosphere, but it ended up being a nuke being shot at a spy satellite or something like that. It was just like, why would you shoot a nuke at a spy satellite? But like like it would just like explain why she's being like tailed by like random people and like all this stuff, and it just feels like, why? So it's like, what about that like necessitates like this being part of the story?
The weird thing about that is this isn't quite like a mystery as I was expecting or hoping for, at least, because you know how we feel about, you know, mystery shows. It's either hit or miss. Like there's no like, oh, it was like an okay mystery. Yeah, I feel like you either have a good mystery or you have a really bad one, and it's like, this is sort of hinging on it. Like, this isn't really a great mystery because you can already kind of tell where it's going. After the end of the first episode where it's like, oh, we didn't find anything, and it's like, all right, well, it's obviously something different. And then it's like, oh, during daytime and looking up at the sky still, it's probably a satellite.
Yeah.
It's a satellite. It's like, there's... I don't know. The mystery is hard to come across in the show because everybody's just sort of like throwing exposition at you. Like all these characters like already have the answers to everything, and there's no like finding clues. There's no finding it, like in evidence or information. It's like, here's what's happening.
Yeah.
Here's the answer to your riddle.
I kind of feel like a lot of that is just like the Nisio Isin style though, where it's like you're just being talked at the whole time.
Yeah. And
then you get the Shinbo directing style, where it's that typical like Shaft like visual imagery, but then they keep like throwing subliminal words at you. But like I agree with you, the whole like it feels like a break to the way they've been showing it, because I got confused as well, because like it happened way over halfway through the episode where they started doing it, and then it happened and I was like, oh, we're moving on, and then like they're in the same conversation, and then like it happens again, and it's like, okay, like they must be like, because like, you know, it's the whole repetition. If I'm gonna pull this phrase from a YouTuber I watch, is like Adam Neely. So in music, repetition, he says repetition legitimizes. So it's like anytime like you do something that can be considered a mistake or like something wrong, if you do it again and then you do it again,
it's
then
on purpose.
It's on purpose and it legitimizes it. So like that's what it kind of feels like in this case, because it's like, oh, okay, like, I guess I get what you're doing. It just doesn't feel right, but
Exactly.
that just be the way we're conditioned to view that kind of stuff.
I mean, yeah, it's a good way to think about it. It's a little it's a little jarring at first, but yeah, if that's the way that the show is going to be, if they're just gonna have all these like, you know, title cards, it's like, all right, well, just accept it and move on, and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm just kind of wondering how far we're gonna go with this show, because I think it's only gonna be what, like 11 or 12 episodes.
It will be. It says it's unknown.
Unknown, because it's like if there's 11 light novels,
one episode per light.
like there's no way they're gonna cover that. Like maybe they'll cover like 3 or 4 volumes in a season. So it's like maybe it gets popular enough that it gets a continuation. I'm just like interested to see just how popular this is and how it's received, because like so far, like I kind of like it, but there are aspects that like we've already talked about that are kind of odd, and I'm just wondering like what's the reasoning behind this other than just for trying to be all artsy. If you want to give it a phrase.
Absolutely. That's sort of the way that I'm feeling right now. It's like I don't really feel the substance in this show. It's just pleasant to look at.
That's a good description, because I actually haven't found. I think that's what bothers me, is that I haven't found substance in all of the art, quote unquote, the art.
Yes.
And then Alex says, the mystery is beauty. What is it, and how do we find it and accept it within ourselves? You know, he could be onto something, though, even if he could potentially be memeing. But that actually could be, it actually could be a story about like the search for the meaning of like beauty and everything. Because the girl finds beauty in, or Mayumi finds beauty in the whole star. It gives her the reason to have a dream to be an astronaut, although that dream seems to be dying.
Yep,
but
very quickly.
It could be just her finding a way to accept things, accept beauty, accept like different things, and yeah, we'll see. That's what Alex says. Being serious and making a joke. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I sort of had that feeling that that's the final lesson that she's going to learn within this show. That's probably what's going to drive her to want to be a part of this club rather than being like a client. It's probably within the next episode where, you know, like after she's cross-dressing and possibly meeting this new character, it's like something is going to trigger within her where she's like, I also want to help others find some kind of purpose or find the beauty in finding their answers and, you know, find it within myself to move forward or whatever.
Yeah. So I kind of hope that, so I will most likely be watching this through the end. I don't know if that's going to be the same for the two of you, but I hope that they're able to move past this sort of awkward phase and like get into the sort of meat and bones of everything. But like knowing how Monogatari was, if you're just not pulled into it at the beginning, then you might not last for the whole season, because like it did even take somewhat of an amount of episodes for the plot to kind of move and like, you know, and the whole like Hitagi crab arc in the first season of Monogatari. So yeah, if it just doesn't pull you in, it's just that slow moving, deliberate style and pace that Shaft and these series and
odds are you're probably not going to get absorbed into it later on.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to our last 3 episode rule. 86, or should I say 86:86, episode 2. 'Â€ 2. 'Â€" 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 with this show, I kind of like the direction it's going in. So it's like, I know last week I said that both this show and Vivi, I'm still a little bit like cautiously wary about the two, because I could see, despite how well they've done so far, I could see it going downhill. So I feel like this week was kind of a step in the right direction for both shows, because I enjoyed both shows this week. And the thing with this show is that they're not afraid to just go into like the issues, rather than just kind of like beating around the bush for like a couple episodes. Like episode 2, we're already like, the main heroine is kind of tackling this whole humanity issue where it's like, they're not drones, they're not like inhuman, like this is like just something we've been brainwashed into thinking. And then like, but they're not human, it says so here in this book, you know, like that sort of like semantics type of thing. So I'm only like worried about the inevitable conflict they're gonna add between her and the crew, because it just feels like at some point they're gonna be like, we don't need your sympathy, we don't need, because like they'll just feel like she's just being condescending by doing that, even though she genuinely like cares for them and like wants them to know that she feels that they're human beings. And it's just like, it feels like that's going to be some sort of superfluous conflict between her and the not the crew, the unit. Yeah. So I don't know what you think about all of that.
No, I can see that too, because the question that's been in the back of my mind is like, okay, well, what has been driving all these other handlers to like kill themselves specifically for this unit? Like, what is she going to come across or face from them that is going to question her resolve? So be it, you know, like that's sort of where I'm not quite sure, because it seems like if they get her and she actually cares about them and wants to like work with them, like why wouldn't they go along with that and be fine with it? It's like she actually wants to make a difference. So is this like you said, is it going to be some superfluous like
conflict?
Yeah, like I don't know. It seems like it's going to be kind of extra.
Yeah, because it's like, obviously they have their own expectations of like, every handler they've had probably never treated them like human beings before.
Yeah.
But like, this is the first one that's like treated every unit that she's handled as human beings, because like she understands, and like, she's been to the battlefield, as we found out in this episode. So I think it's going to be that sort of thing where maybe the reason why the previous handlers couldn't handle it before, that's kind of an interesting way to say it, is that maybe they realized that they were actual human beings dying under their command, and learning that things they were doing were directly interfering with like the lives and safety of these members. Because like we see in this episode where the Undertaker's like, don't do that, because it's gonna essentially let them know where we are, and then like it'll add more danger to us. And then she's like, oh, sorry. Like, yeah. So it's like going to be a lot of like these growing pains that happen between the two sides. So yeah, I hope, I just hope that it continues to stay at this like level of quality, I guess. Yeah,
because it's fun to watch. Like, as much as I was pretty hesitant about like the mecha in the first episode, I had no problems with it in this one. I thought it's drawn pretty well. The animation is great. The action scenes are amazing. That scene where she sort of goes into that exposition about like, you're all being lied to, like sort of felt a little out of place and like unnecessary, but the content itself, like I know that message is like, we need that information.
Yeah. Like, and she's saying that right when there's a military police guy sitting right there.
Like, okay, it's probably not the best place and time, but
you want to get court-martialed and executed, but she can't because she's like kind of important, I guess. But
yeah,
I don't know. I just feel like what I don't like about this show happens to do with the whole weird aristocracy type of aspect to it, where we've got the race of USS Enterprises that are taking over, but like she was just like, oh yeah, all of us that have silver hair and like
The
blue
land of
eyes, and I'm just like, there's literally one person in this unit that has silver hair and blue eyes and looks like that race. So it's like, why is she in 86? Like that doesn't make sense to me. So it's like, she like mixed blood or some shit like that. It's
half blood.
She had this dumb half blood.
Dirty.
I don't know. Obviously, there's going to be some sort of play into like the look into racism. And you okay over there? Yeah, I heard some.
Yeah, I think my landlord's fixing the vents outside.
But like, you know, the whole like deal with like racism in terms of like feeling some sort of like racial supremacy. I feel like it's gonna be handled again, but sometimes I just feel like the way that like it's handled in anime is not done excellently.
Yeah, it's a tough subject to come across in like a fantasy world, which you would think if it's handled well, it's like, okay, you can have these like reflections of like, oh, this is it's a context for so like our current situation or whatever. But when it's like done kind of awkwardly, then it really makes it seem like it's out of touch. I don't know. I could see that it's gonna. Sorry, the banging. I could see how it will be weird.
Yeah. I guess like it's only a matter of time, right? And I hope that the series continues to do as well. The one thing that I will say is that I didn't realize that this show, the music was being done by Sawano Hiroyuki, because I was like listening and then like they get into the battle and then like I'm hearing the music and like the vocals come up and I'm just like, wait, it sounds like something that like Sawano Hiroyuki would do. And then like they play more of the music later in the episode and it's like, this sounds like his style of composition. And then I looked it up and of course it was him. I was like, oh, like that's also helping make the battles feel more epic, because like whenever you have like the Sawano Hiroyuki like soundtrack for the stuff, it always sounds 50 times more epic than it could be without it.
Like, dude, you can't go wrong with Sawano Hiroyuki.
Yeah, that's what it feels. Alec just said, "Get them raccoons out of here." Took our jobs. Nice. Well, yeah. Is there anything else you want to touch on from our 3-episode rule, or are you good?
No, I mean, I think that's it for me. 86 is probably the one that I'm for sure going to keep watching. I think the other two I'm pretty on the fence about. But no, I probably won't continue watching Osana Najimi.
Yeah, I mean, I already said that it was like I didn't want to turn it off 3 minutes into the episode just because like the whole pacing and everything just felt weird.
Just the tropiness of it just seems so over the top and like not funny at all.
Well, episode 3 for Tante-dan and 86 will be next week, and then we'll still have 2 more weeks for Osamake, but you know that seems like it's already in the lower end of our spectrum. But yeah, let's move back into these beers. So the Waldo's Special Ale Triple IPA 2021 edition. I am honestly really enjoying this right now. It's got a nice it feels like a triple IPA in the sense that like it reminds me a little bit of the yeah, go ahead and take care of that. So to chat and everyone else, it reminds me a little bit of a triple IPA in the sense that it reminds me of the hoppy complexity and nature of the Pliny the Elder, but it has a sweetness to it that reminds me of a hazy, which is kind of interesting.
This reminds me of a hazy.
Yeah, so it's like it reminds me of the hop complexity and like triple IPA type style of Pliny the Elder in terms of like the hop profile, but like the sweetness to it reminds me a little bit of a hazy, not like completely, but like just like the sweet aftertaste reminds me a little bit of it.
I mean, I could kind of see that. The first couple of sips were pretty like blaringly like hoppy, but after a little bit, it's sort of settled down. I don't know if it's because it's like warmed up just a little bit, or like my palate has just gotten adjusted to it. But it is actually very, very pleasant. Mm-hmm. It's not super powerful, which is something that we had appreciated from the Waldos like the previous years, is that it's super drinkable and it's really, really delicious. Like it's not like super in your face with the hoppiness. I feel like this one is a little bit hoppier than the previous ones. So this may not be as approachable to like other, maybe like non-IPA drinkers. But it's still very good though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still like, I keep thinking that like I need to sort of pace myself because it's 11%.
But it's 11%. Okay.
It's 11.7%.
I'm almost halfway done with it, so maybe we should slow down a little bit.
Yeah, same.
But that's what you said. It's drinkable. It's very drinkable in my opinion. I do like that the hop complexity reminds me of Pliny, because Pliny is obviously one of my favorite beers. And I don't know, it's just like from the first sip, I was just like, it tastes like very good in my opinion.
It is really good. It's super tasty. Yeah. I mean, like you said at the top of the episode, that this is one of those beers that we look forward to every year, and I'm reminded why, because it's got so many flavors going into it. Like as soon as I poured out the bottle, I was like, oh man, that sounds super tropical. It smells super
it's tropical. Permeating my ears.
God, I could just hear the tropical vibes. But like I could just smell like pineapple and mango. I could smell the hoppiness. I could smell the dank. Like it was awesome. It was like a great olfactory experience.
That's a great way of putting it.
Thank you. But yeah, and then like you start drinking it and it's like, damn, I remember, like I really enjoy this beer. And one thing I do have to say though, and we were talking about this on the Discord, is that like this is only a 4-pack, so yeah. Previous years was 6-pack for pretty much the same price. So I don't know what happened there.
Did they like not make as much? I don't know. This is a beer that honestly,
at times,
if it was available year round, I would get it, pretty often.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This would be a beer that I would say like, oh yeah, let's go pick up some Waldos.
Yeah.
Like
because
for Friday night, I'm gonna have like 2 of these and be like good. Like
despite like you saying it might not be as approachable to some people as the previous years, I do think, at least in comparison to Pliny, this is a more approachable beer. It's strong though.
It's strong.
But in terms of the flavor profile, I think it's a bit more approachable, because it's got that sweetness to combat the hoppiness. So it's like you are hit with that hoppiness from the start, but afterwards it finishes very sweet.
Yeah. I don't know if this one tastes as like dank as previous years either.
No, you don't get that cushy, resiny,
that sort of resiny flavor. Yeah, this one is a little bit sweeter, but it's still very. I think it's very hoppy.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't know.
I think it's just like it's very good as it is.
Yeah.
Despite it not having those same characteristics.
It's still reminiscent of the previous years. I mean, I think that they're still doing a great job with this. I think it's slightly different, but I mean, it's still a great fucking beer.
Let's see what Alex says. He's looking forward to the next barrel-aged Goose Island beer. Is that, yeah?
Oh, I got like 2 of those.
The next bourbon counties. Oh, you know what we haven't done? We haven't gone through, so it's like I still have a few of the Firestone beers that have just been aging. We should do a thing where we go
the 200 next week.
Dude, you're a genius. I'm going to pull out some of those barrel-aged beers that we've been holding on to.
Yeah, all of them, one episode.
All of them in one episode? Oh, man, are you trying to kill us?
No, I'm just kidding. Let's not do that. It seems like such a waste.
Just like, oh, I've been aging this beer for like a couple years. Let me drink all of them at once.
Let me not remember any of them the next day or for the next, next couple months. Just have them all on the same night. Yeah.
It's one of those special occasions, and 200's next week.
Big.
I think we're gonna have to do it.
Yeah. I'd say we do one of those. Crack open a cold one.
Alex says he hasn't held on to any for the aging. His move did not allow for that. But he's got a book, though, so he's allowed to talk at least.
All right. You got the book. You got to show the book.
He has to show the book so that we know that he's actually been taking his notes.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. Alec, you're just going to have to find a barrel-aged beer. Yep. If it's written, you can't forget. But yeah, why don't we go ahead and rate the beer? Mark, what do you think? Waldo's 2021 edition.
4 or 5.
4 or 5?
Yeah.
Umai! That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think I'm with you there. I think it's a 4 or 5.
Yahoo!
To me, it's just a very approachable triple IPA. It's very strong, as a triple IPA is, but I feel like just like the flavor profile is very good. It's definitely better when it's first out of the bottle and colder, but it's still not that bad as it's warmed up a little bit.
I don't think it's bad at all, like, since it's been warming up a little.
You just get a little bit more of the sweetness when it's colder, I feel.
Yeah. I don't remember the bottle saying that it was actually a triple IPA.
It's always been called a special ale, right?
Special ale. Yeah. I mean, it's like based on the percentage of it, it's like we kind of knew it was got to be like a double or triple. But it's the first time that I've seen it actually classified as a triple IPA.
Yeah, I think I've always just seen it labeled as like an American IPA or something like that. Well, now we know. At least this year's version's a triple IPA.
Yeah, right.
And maybe that's why it's been different from the previous ones.
Maybe that's why it's only a 4-pack too. Probably like this is a triple IPA.
Amount of hops. You get less beer.
Yes. Sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, I mean it's probably because of because of COVID, and probably have to small scale some things. So.
Well, I will gladly get another one of these. Might actually get another 4-pack before this is gone with the rest of the 2021 limited releases. But yeah, I think next week let's do those beers we've been aging, like one of them, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to our news. So first news, all of this is from Anime News Network. Zombieland Saga's official website announced that it will have its first side story manga release in May. It will be titled Zombieland Saga Gaiden, the First Zombie. The release will be available in Shueisha's Ultra Jump magazine and will feature a certain character's legendary past, quote unquote. Yeah, I'm always looking forward to anything Zombieland Saga, like the current airing season.
Does that mean the legendary Yamada-Tai?
Dude. But next up, new anime adaptations in the works. The Great Jahi Will Not Be Defeated comedy manga is getting an anime adaptation. It will arrive this summer. The Fairway Paladin light novels are getting a TV anime slated for October. How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom anime is also slated for a summer release. Another trail. Yep. And the Quintessential Quintuplets Twitter announced a sequel movie to be released in 2022. This will take place after the third season airs, which will be next winter. And then no further info on whether the plot will take place after the events of the anime and or manga or as a side story. So we're still, if you've listened to our shots on Quint's season 2, obviously there's manga spoiler involved, but whether the final season goes the route of faithfully continuing with the manga story or does something different is yet to be determined, but it seems like it'll follow the manga to a T, kind of, even though they've cut a lot of things out. But yeah, we'll see what this movie does. I just kind of feel like it's superfluous.
I think it's going to be like, oh, the 5 or 6 of them go to the beach or something. It can be festival.
Nice.
Yeah,
Beach
Matsuri Fest.
Beach episode onsen
Fest.
Beach and onsen episode, but because it's a movie, you get 90 minutes of fan service. That's gonna be lit.
Perfect.
But yeah, that's all of our news for this week. Let's get into our happy hour. First up, we've got a discussion topic, and that is this: what are the moral implications of a large age gap in romance, anime, manga, or light novel? So we have 2 shows this season, Higehiro and Koikimo, that cover large age gaps in a romance. So in both shows, it involves a younger girl, a high school age girl, and an older guy, someone in their 20s, in the workforce. So both of them are somewhat like close to like a 10-ish, 9+ year age gap. And yeah, so I kind of wanted to see what everyone thought about these large age gaps, because obviously it feels less important like the older people are, but like this is kind of that gray area where like people are still kind of underage. Like in Koikimo's perspective, Ichika is like 17, and then in Higehiro, I think Sayu is like 16-ish, something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
So they're still like they're not adults. Like obviously like in the West we think of someone being 18 as an adult, but like in Japan technically you're an adult when you're 20, so it's even worse.
I mean, yeah, like what is like the legal age in Japan? Is it different than
like I think you can
US?
get married when you're 16, but like you have to have parental consent, but like you're not considered an adult until you're 20.
Yeah. See, that's where this like gray area comes in. I mean, I'll approach this as like a general rule. Like for me, I would say that any like sort of like relationships, like whether it's, you know, you get Higehiro or what is the other, Koikimo, I feel like as long as both people are of like legal age and are consenting, then it's like, all right, it's fine. That age is sort of, you know, it's like people mature at different times. So like yada yada. Feel like it's okay. But when you get into this like sort of gray area with these shows, that's where I feel like it's a little awkward and it's not okay.
Yeah, I kind of feel like what I can accept from these 2 shows is that it's not sleazeball-y. So it's not like just like, it's not fetishizing age, right?
Yeah.
It's more of like the happenstance and circumstance is that the girls happen to be in high school and the guys happen to be like, you know, young men in their mid-20s.
Mid-20s, yeah.
Like in the workforce. So it's like they obviously clearly have more experience in life and, you know, may or may not necessarily have had
more
experiences in romance than these girls. So it's like the part of it all that makes it feel awkward is just that like, since these girls are so young, like they may not have had like enough experience in romance like these guys, so like it always feels like maybe they're being taken advantage of, right?
Right.
Because in Koikimo's case, one of the male classmates that probably likes Ichika is kind of like, I get this vibe that this guy's just playing you, like just be like, watch out, be careful. And it's just like, honestly, like,
yeah, it's a
valid assumption
feeling to have. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, I don't know, because like obviously like you've read Higehiro as much as I have, and then Koikimo's been new to us. Like what do you feel is the difference between the two? So it's like Higehiro's the seinen take, Koikimo's like the josei take. Obviously both of them are the adult equivalents of like shonen and shoujo. So what do you think like how both of these shows are tackling the age gap?
I mean, like thinking more upon like the seinen or josei, it's like, okay, there's this like male-centered approach or like male-focused approach versus like a female-focused approach. It's like, if I were, you know, in this situation as a male, like I completely respect, I don't forget the main character's name in Higehiro. It's like, yeah, like he wants to do right by this girl and he wants to actually like teach her lessons, and like he's trying to accept her and try to bring her into like the adult world and like sort of teach her like, you know, you need to be like more aware of yourself, or you need to like protect yourself, or you need to
respect yourself.
Yes. And it's like, and then, you know, whatever, like if feelings develop, like, you know, that's like sort of bound to happen because people keep bringing it up in the show. It's like, okay, well, in that situation, it's like, I respect him for like, you know, treating her like, yeah, she's a child to him, because that's just the way that it is. Like, yeah. She is. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, I respect that. You know, he's just like, you need a place to stay. Sure. Like, you know, don't pull any of this crap on me or I'm going to kick you out. Yeah. But I'm doing this out of my own kindness. It's like, all right, yeah, like I respect that as a man. But then there's like this other approach to it, which is like Koikimo, where it's like, oh, this man is like fawning over this younger girl, and it's like he's doing whatever he can in his power to try to get her to notice him, like, notice me, senpai. But like, it's this very over the top romance, and it's like, yeah, he's doing all these like really nice things, he's like being very gentleman-y, like it's not super creepy. It's like, I think the creepy feelings that I get out of it is because there's an age gap, because he's like so in love with her. That's what I find weird.
And the circumstance of how he falls in love with her is a little bit odd. It's like, okay, sure, she saved you, so maybe he's got that like survivor,
damsel in distress kind of
sort of thing. But like, it's like, oh, she gave me this like love-filled bento, like some random stranger. It just happened to be a girl that also treats him like shit, despite like basically every other girl fawning over him. So it's just like he's got that weird masochistic side, apparently. But I feel like that's like just like the comedy aspect. Right. So it's that's like the odd, not the odd, but that's the difference between these two. So it's like the josei take is like, let's make it more comedic. So it's like they're going more of like kind of like how like Wotakoi does it, where like they try to make take light of the situation and like be a little bit more lighthearted, whereas the seinen take in Higehiro is like being a little bit more like on the nose, like this is an issue, like what is this going to lead to if these two develop feelings for each other? Like we already see just in episode 3 that
we have all these other outside voices too,
is like developing these feelings of attachment for him. And it's like, obviously this is the first guy that has like treated her like a human being and respected her. So it's like, she's obviously going to feel like some sort of attachment to him. She likes the safety of living with him. Right. And the fact that he's not demanding anything of her makes her uncomfortable, because it makes her feel insecure. And like it's not just that insecurity of her feeling unattractive to him, but like it's the insecurity of like if she's not attractive to him, what will happen if he gets a girlfriend?
Yeah.
What will happen to her? So
what's gonna happen?
It's like it's delving into like a complex situation with that, where it's like I get like Koi Kimo is like more, it's just like strict love comedy. And that's what I like about it. Like
it's funny,
it's
like
funny.
it's really entertaining because it is like over the top. It's like you know that it's going to be comedy, and you know that even though there's this large age gap, like it's kind of funny because it's not like being like creepy, or it's not being like super weird. It's like, yeah, there are these like big, like, you know, like you're posing to us. It's like there's these sort of like moral questions, but it's taking itself like in this lighthearted like attitude that you sort of know that it's like you know, like it's kind of all in fun, but there's still like a romance there. So like, you know, obviously, or there's a potential for it to be reciprocated.
Yeah. And that's what I guess I kind of feel is like the main separation.
Yeah.
Whereas I enjoy Koi Kimo for the fact that they're able to take a lighthearted take on it. But what I enjoy about Higehiro is that the characters in the show are very likable, and the fact that it's not just fetishizing the whole age gap.
Yeah.
Where it's like I can feel like maybe Koi Kimo could potentially be seen as doing it, even though it's definitely not. It just feels like this guy genuinely likes this, likes Ichika, likes this high school girl, whether it has to do with his own I guess proclivity to masochism or not, but like he just like likes the girl, and but it leads to the comedy. But like in Higehiro you get Sayu, who is a complex character, and then Yoshida, who's honestly like he's a fucking saint. It's like he won't touch this girl because it's like it's not like Sayu is like unattractive or anything. Yeah. Like even she says herself, she's like, I feel like I'm like, you know, I've got like big breasts and like I'm fairly cute for a high school girl. And then he even says it himself. He's like, of course, like any guy would feel something like with what you're doing in this moment, but like I want you to know that like I only want to like do these sort of things with like a girl that I'm in love with, and I'm not in love with you. So like I want you to respect yourself and respect me. And like that's how he treats it, and it's just like this guy is like a good guy, and it's
a
obviously
approach.
Making it more complicated because it's like she probably fell more in love with him due to that fact because she's a young girl, and this is like the one person that has like treated her with like a complete like dignity and respect. So it's just really hard because I like all of the characters minus guy that shows up at the beginning of episode 3 that I didn't think I wasn't sure was going to show up in this season or not, but like I said, could potentially show up at the end of the season as a conflict. But I just feel like Higehiro is doing a very good job at tackling the age.
Well, I think it helps that there's also like other love interests that are like of age, and it's like it isn't this like cut and dry like, oh, you know, like he's completely in love with this girl that who's living with him, but it's like he doesn't want to reciprocate because like he doesn't want to get into that, you know, moral gray area. But the way like the show is presenting, it's like, no, he's actually treating her with respect, but like, you know, whether there's some sort of like mutual connection there, like that could develop and it could happen. But he actually has like other love interests going on, or people who are interested in him, where it's like you have these other like avenues and other routes and like these other connections that he could make that, you know, it's sort of this like, we don't know where this romance is, or his romance is going to go. I feel like that sort of takes away from that lightheartedness and into that like, oh, you never know, like, you know, who he's going to develop feelings for. Because like you said, like all these characters are likable except for
except for guy that shows up at the beginning of episode 3. That we don't know the name of yet technically, but if you at least read the manga or at least what's translated of it, like he has appeared but like 20 chapters later, so it's like I honestly was kind of surprised that he showed up at the beginning of this episode. It's like, oh, so they are gonna go there this season. But just so many of the characters are likable. I can't wait. Well, next episode we're gonna get the Sayu's gal friend, and she's such a good character. She's a good character.
I don't know. I'm still team Kohai though. I love Kohai.
You're team Mishima.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like all the characters. Like I feel a little bit bad for Goto, the boss, because it's like she has like she states it like she's got like an intuition for like things. I guess like I don't know. Did they talk about that in the manga, or in the anime, or is that just the manga so far?
That's in the manga so far.
Okay, well, she has intuition and like a feeling for things, but like you can clearly see like whenever she it shows her looking at Yoshida, she's got like this longing, and she like feels like she's being neglected now because she had to like turn him down. Right. But like there's a reason for that we'll find out like this season. But like, I feel like she's a good character, and like she follows like her gut and her intuition maybe to a fault. And she's a
good flawed character.
It's not like there's anything wrong with that, because like I know like just honestly women are like very good at like gut and intuition sorts of things, whereas like guys are more of like just instinct. Obviously I'm generalizing here, but like guys tend to act on impulse more, whereas like girls are very like more introspective and like think about things more. And so like I can't really find a fault in the fact that she acts upon her intuition. You're right.
The decisions that she's made have some sort of merit to them. Even though to us it seems it's like, oh, that's messed up.
Where it's just like, well, aren't you just like ruining your own chances? But it's like, although like I have to say, like from what has happened in the manga in like recent chapters, like I'm interested to see like what's gonna happen, because like so many things are going on, and it's like what's gonna happen. But like this show is good, and I hope that it continues to be excellent.
Same. I want to reread the manga and sort of have this comparison that we usually do.
I mean, there's only like 26-ish chapters that have been translated, so
it's not very much.
It's not going to be difficult. I think they're only going to cover to like 24, maybe something like that.
Might be right.
But yeah, why don't we move on from this whole age gap discussion? Obviously, you can tell that as long as there's a consensual nature to it, and it's not like being fetishized, we're fine with it if it's true romance. Obviously, it's better if they're older. And then Alec even said in chat, age divided by 2 plus 7 is the proper age gap.
Obviously, is that how the math works?
That's what he says. But like, if you think about it, though, the younger you are, the bigger the age gap.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. The smaller the age gap.
Wait.
The younger you are, the smaller age gap. So it's like if someone is 14, you divide that by 2, that's 7 plus 7. They have to date someone else that's 14.
Okay, yeah.
But by his logic, if you're 44, that's 22 plus 7, so 29. So that's a pretty big age gap.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I see what you get there.
I still think that's kind of a big age difference, but
I mean, I know people who have dated within that age gap before, so
hey, I mean it's not like, was it David Foster and Catherine McPhee are like a pretty big age gap?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're having a kid, so
I mean, it's not like entirely out of the realm of possibilities, and it's not like it can't work. It's just in my mind, it seems to be better if you're older, at least, like, you know.
Yeah. All right. Well, enough of the age gap discussion. Let's get into Vivi Fluorite Eye's song. So, honestly, the way this arc ended exceeded my expectations, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. I really like this show. I'm like in love with this show. It's got like a lot of great things going for it. I mean, music is amazing, animation, voice acting is great. Man, yeah, I like the way that this arc ended. It seemed to be a good closure, and I know we were kind of like hinting about it's going to be weird as long as like this is going to continue moving forward, and like what are the implications going to be. But I like how things are still connected as they're jumping from point to point.
Mm-hmm. And like, despite how differently Matsumoto and Vivi act, it's always like Vivi acting upon this human-like nature that she has, that ends up winning in the end. And despite Matsumoto's efforts to like try and prevent history from diverging too much, her actions end up doing better than sort of what like they expect, right?
Yeah.
Like they exceed these expectations, yet still fall within, I guess, the not diverging too much.
Mm.
Bless you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's because it's like, because you can tell that, you know, his mission and you know what the whole purpose of the show is, that is like he's calculated exactly where these changes need to be, and yes, like that these are like turning points in history. But Vivi's approach to that is you know, producing far better outcomes by taking, like you said, like this humanistic approach. And it just creates for like better conflict too, because you get this whole like AI robotic side versus like how would a human approach this, or like how is she approaching like feelings that she has. And it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I like the whole like twin sister thing that came about. That was pretty cool.
Isn't it like not odd, but like, isn't it interesting that, so it's like, I've already like made a similar comparison to like Violet Evergarden, and a drink for that. And the fact that like Violet Evergarden was a story about humanizing this very like robotic like girl. She's a child soldier, but like she just like was learning to be human. She's obviously a human with mechanical arms, but like like she was learning to be human because like she was so estranged from society. But like in this case, it's kind of odd, but
opposite almost.
The AI characters feel more human than the human characters. So it's like the humans feel very cold, isolated, more robotic. But they learn from these AI characters, Vivi in particular, to how to be more human and have emotion. Because it's like even these two twin robots, like there was so much emotion and like emotional attachment between the two. And I was just like, I was just like, when Estelle, is that her name?
Yes. Stella or something?
Stella, something like that.
Yeah.
When she had the grief of Elizabeth, you know, essentially being gone and dying, like she showed emotion, but like she couldn't cry because she's an android. And I was just like, oh, like that's like impactful.
Yeah, it's really deep. It's like, you know that these are robots, that these are AI, and it's like they're all a part of this test. But it's such a tragic story that you just can't help but feel bad and feel emotion for these two beings that were supposed to be like one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then for them to like, for one of them to realize that like the other is missing, but like has to continue and go on, like that's her sole function. That's her job now. It's like, damn, that feels awful.
And it's like the way the AIs transmit infinite information with one another is like through skinship, essentially. So it's like they touch their foreheads, and it's like in a very like mother-like way that like maybe like a mother shows affection for her child. And so like it's interesting because it's like a lot of these AIs, it's like we don't really see like the male AIs portrayed in a way like they look kind of like just robots, but like the female AIs are very like motherly, and like they have like this tendency to like care for others, and I think that just like pulls at like maybe like that innate human like respect for like your own mother, right? So it's like that's like the like who you were like nurtured from, and so like they pull from that like very well, in my opinion. Where it feels like the whole aspect of like being driven by like emotions has always been attributed to like female characters, right? And the fact that like these AI characters, despite being female in portrayal, show the most emotion, and it's just like an interesting dichotomy, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Even like Vivi's approach to her previous friend's sister, it's like that then became like her mission. It's like she knew what the ultimate mission was. It's like you have to alter the course of history, you know, but it's like by seeing that connection that she had previously to the young girl, I forget her name, it's like now she just immediately went into like this like motherly mode where it's like I need to protect
this child,
and like I need to figure out like what exactly is going on in order to protect her. This is you know, you get that mama bear type of situation where it's like, yeah, the whole entire mission completely changes, or it's like, you know, you realize the trajectory that she's going. Now it's like being pushed even further.
Doesn't it kind of like make you think that this whole Singularity project just has to do with like evolving AIs at a faster rate, that they become more human?
Yeah, I've been feeling that too. It's based upon how the end of the first one, or the first arc, ended. It's like things are going along at a somewhat faster rate, and it seems like after this one we're getting an even increased like growth for these AI, which, you know, hopefully is what the end goal is. Like hopefully that this will produce more humanistic and emotional AI,
that they won't commit the crime of not crime, but like won't commit like an act of war in the future, because it's like if they're more human, then they'll come to an understanding with humans and like coexist, because they're capable of emotion and compassion. Whereas like right now it's just fucking Skynet versus versus humanity. So it's like I feel like potentially the reason why the conflict happened in the first place is like maybe the actions of this anti-AI group made it so that AIs eventually got treated with sort of disdain, and like treated to a point where they were inhuman in terms of their treatment, that they ended up rising up through their evolution and became sentient on their own. That they were like, we're not going to stand for this. Well, like we have immortal bodies, essentially, kind of, not really, but like we're just going to kill you guys off. You guys are the organic beings. And so it just, if they become more human like, then they can coexist, right? So it just feels like I've had this suspicion, but like maybe the scientist guy is related to this guy that keeps reappearing. Whether it's the same guy or not, I don't think he looks that young at 100 years old, but like he could be related to that guy unless it's somehow like cryo technology where you got like frozen in time or something when Vivi got like, you know, put out of service. But
no, that's
like,
a good theory.
It's like,
I mean,
maybe
yeah,
he thought back on his actions of being in this anti-AI group and like learned that because like Vivi had saved him, that like maybe this was the right course of action, and like he wants to make sure that she ends up saving humanity. So I was like, I don't know. That's just kind of my theory of what's going to happen.
I have a feeling we'll see that guy again, though.
Yeah.
We'll definitely see him at least one more time, probably within the next arc. He'll probably show up a little bit older again. I mean, that's what I was, you know, meaning. It's like things have been coming back around. I'm glad that he showed up again. I feel like his arc will be concluded at the next singularity point, and then we'll probably get some sort of like turning from him. I don't know. He'll probably see the benefit of having Vivi learn, and you know, whatever.
Yeah, it is kind of feel weird because it's like it's like she's saying that she's acting upon her mission, which is to sing and make people happy, but it's like we've pretty much deviated from that altogether.
Where's the singing?
Because it's in the opening, but
right.
because she's not even the one that sang in this episode. It was the twins, but it feels like she's been more human, and like her mission has been evolving, just like to her own, because like she's the first autonomous AI, right? So it feels like she truly does have that complete autonomy where she is very human.
Yeah, I like that she was able to call like the Estella and Elizabeth her sisters because they're sort of like based on her design. I'm hoping that based upon her actions and her involvement, and that continues to develop. So it's like maybe she'll see more of like her like sisters or like, you know, daughters or whatever you will. And maybe that will continue to improve like the overall outcome of the entire series.
Hopefully, yeah. That's what I'd hope for, at least. Yeah,
that'd be like good end.
Yeah, I'm hoping for it.
Yeah.
Please don't destroy my expectations. But if you do destroy my expectations, make it in a positive sense.
Yeah, subvert them positively.
Yeah, Vivi's good. 86 is good. I know I had my qualms and fears about how they could turn out potentially poorly later on last week, but they keep on this trajectory. I'm hoping that those fears will be set aside.
Yeah, I mean, like with Wit Studio at the helm, it's like I have a lot of faith that they're going to do a good job with the series.
Yeah. It's feeling a lot more along the lines of like Ancient Magus' Bride than Attack on Titan, but
yeah.
Anyways, next, so I haven't seen the first episode of this, but you said you saw the first couple, To Your Eternity.
Yeah.
So you said it was good, right?
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, the animation is great. It's super weird. Like, I don't exactly know what this being is, but it starts off with the narrator who is Minami from Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay.
Who has a fucking amazing voice. It's like, dude, this guy is like a god narrator. So it starts off with him narrating about this being that has, you know, just taken over the forms of certain life on Earth, and it's like, well, a rock. I don't know if it's like a live being, but it starts off with like as like a rock, and then it goes into something else, and then it goes into something else, and then it finally finds this like wolf that dies, and then turns into the wolf, and it can like regenerate wounds. So it's like, I don't know if this is like a parasite or an alien or what, but this wolf finds this boy, and it tries to help this boy on this journey as like this parasite being, whatever. Just gonna call it. That's what people in like comment section have been calling it. But this it has been like trying to learn and is like slowly developing certain experiences in order to better itself or whatever, in order to I guess progress, I'll say. But yeah, it's super weird. This boy is like trying to escape the tundra and, you know, find his family and village that ended up leaving him there. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. It's a very interesting. It seems like it's going to be a pretty epic journey. Like I said, the music and animation are amazing. So this is definitely one that I didn't really have on my radar, but I'm going to look forward to watching every week.
What my question is, will this fulfill my itch for the void that Mushoku Tensei left? Okay.
Yeah. This
because that's what it sounds like to me.
This is the exact feeling that I was getting. This seems like it's gearing up to be this really epic journey. And I'm on board. I'm really enjoying this so far.
All right, then I'll give this one a shot because I feel like I have to wait until Mushoku Tensei comes back for that void to be filled, and it's like, oh, I don't want to wait.
Absolutely. That was like one of the thoughts that I had after the first episode ended. I was like, yeah, this is going to be a great, like epic adventure like Mushoku Tensei.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll give this one a shot. I'd be interested to see how that all turns out.
It's weird, man.
I
know my description doesn't make any sense.
I didn't even know what to expect of it, because like I think when we did the episode previews or the season previews, we were just kind of like, what is this? And then just kind of like, you know, sidebarred it. But
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it turns out. Who's what studio is behind this one?
Brainspace, I think is what I looked at.
Brainspace. Oh, Brian's Space.
Brian's Space.
Yeah.
Yeah. They did Kyoku Suri and like a bunch of other random shows.
Oh, so they did a show that we did not like, and then we just get
visually the show is good.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll give it a shot. We'll see. I think last up on our list, we've got a show that has sort of come out of left field, but that is Saint's powers are omnipotent. This show gives off that whole, I think you said, the ascendance of a bookworm vibe, but like they're all grown up.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's pretty much what it is in a nutshell. Ascendance of a bookworm. She's an adult.
Yeah, and it's got Violet Evergarden as the main voice actress.
Yeah, I love it. But she's like, you know, a happy and like a more ganky character, which is great.
Not as emotionless as Violet, or no, Violet gains emotion. Not as emotionless as Mikasa, because she also voices Mikasa.
She also does.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been enjoying this fairly well, because the similar I guess aspects to Ascendance of a Bookworm, because although the premise might seem a little bit closer to Hamet's Flag, which I'm looking forward to the next season coming in the summer, it feels like this is a little bit more in the serious end that's similar to Ascendance of a Bookworm, and like there's more practical uses of like what they're doing. Is like she's like, all right, well, I'm going to use these medicinal herbs to cook, because that's just what they're using in my world. Like, you use rosemary to make food, not just like medicinal stuff. Like,
gotta throw some spice in there, guys.
Put some spice in your life. But yeah, I like how like it's tackling like a sort of slice of life aspect, and then there's a little bit of romance involved, but it doesn't feel like it's taking itself too seriously, but there is some sort of plot in the background, kind of like Bookworm.
Yeah. I think the plot might be even more subtle than Bookworm.
Yeah.
Especially with the third episode is going. But it's still interesting because I want to know more about this world, because it seems like we've sort of just been thrust into this like slice of life of an isekai, but the greater picture is that she was obviously summoned there for a reason, and there's this other girl that we have no idea what's going on to her, but our main character is like just learning about the world and cooking and making potions and experiencing romance. And it's like, sure, I'm down. I'm all about it. This is fun. It's enjoyable to watch. But I want to know more. It's like, I just want to know more what's going on.
So we were talking about this before we started the episode, but I kind of got the vibe that like, so the other Elizabeth or whatever, that's the girl that Sei gets to know in episode 2, mentions like a transfer student at her school, and like the guys are like fawning over her, and like it doesn't seem like she understands her place because like these guys are like betrothed to like other girls in the class, and like it's causing like a conflict. And it feels like, for me, the only character that would make sense for this to happen to is the other girl, because she was younger. And it feels like, oh, maybe is this like a split thing where it's like there's the two sides. We've got Sei, who's an adult, and then we've got this younger girl who seems like high school age, that like she's having the more like maiden-like experience of like being isekai'd. So it's like she's whisked into this other world. She's getting all this attention. She's got a prince showering her with attention. Everyone's flowering her with all of this like love and like grace, because it's like, oh, she's the saint. And like you got Sei here that like
sort of been cast aside.
But she clearly has like this magical power that's apparently omnipotent,
which doesn't make any sense, but okay.
Well, I mean, it's all powerful, so it's it's like she's got like this power, and it's like been helping their world. She's been like providing them with spice, as you could put it, basically doing things that like if you were a fan of Bookworm, like we're improving this world and society, although in a less
subtle,
no, more of like a less commercial aspect compared to Bookworm, but more like she's just doing it on her own whims, because it's like that's the thing she enjoys doing, and that's what I kind of like about it. Because like Sei's character is like, I like doing these things because they're just things I enjoy, and like she's very much like a very like independent and like free-spirited woman, and like it's kind of refreshing to see that sort of character versus like the other side, where it's like you've got this other girl that has been whisked off her feet and like is just like kind of riding the wave, as you could say it, and like living the young girl's dream of like finding a prince to whisk her off her feet and do all this stuff. Whereas like Sei kind of has had that similar experience with the Ice Knight or whatever,
but like unintentionally.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
It's fun. Yeah, it's kind of fun to think about this like to two sides of the coin, because I mean, like, who does like would Sei have enjoyed being like in a school and being doted on? It probably would have been super weird to her.
She would have been like, "Get me out of here."
Yeah, like, what the fuck is going on?
It's that cynical nature that you get from being an adult, right?
Exactly. That's exactly it. So it's like, I don't know, maybe being older, it's like, you know, I can totally relate like with what she's doing. It's like, just want to learn. Like, I'm in another world, might as well take advantage of it. Oh, what's this? Let me try my hand at making a potion. Let me just cook some food.
Oh, it's all 50% more effective?
All right, sure, I guess I'm really good at this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're just kind of falling into success, and she's just like enjoying every minute of it, which is, you know, I love it. I think it's great that it's so lighthearted. You know, it does remind me of like what Bookworm would be if like people didn't doubt her all the time because she's a child.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, if she didn't have to go through all these like struggles. I mean, I love Bookworm, don't get me wrong, but you know, this is sort of this like sort of carefree approach to that.
Yeah, I agree. I have fairly high expectations of the show now that we're like this far in, and it's been fairly good, that I'm definitely going to keep watching it till the end. Even if it sort of falls off, at least in comparison to Bookworm, it'll at least be entertaining to the point that like I enjoyed Hamet's Flag just because that show was entertaining, but like kept being more entertaining.
Yeah.
So I have the expectations that this show could be like that, but even if it plays more into like the whole shoujo, like, although this is probably like josei like aspect where it's more realistic, despite being an isekai, you know, like in terms of like expectations of like how things turn out. Like,
yeah, after the third episode, it seems like it's sort of taking that like josei approach. But I mean, I still think that it's going to be like a very enjoyable, like isekai.
Yeah.
With that like josei vibe. Fine. Like, I'm sure there'll be some tropes in there, but yeah, I kind of have faith so far, which is like a weird thing about like a romance isekai. It's like I sort of have faith that this is going to be an enjoyable ride. So yeah, I'm gonna keep watching it too.
Isn't it kind of weird that this season has had a lot of these random, just out of nowhere shows? Just a lot of them. Is it just because we had low expectations in general?
I think that's probably it. Like, there's a lot of shows that are out this season that I wasn't expecting to be very good that I'm like pleasantly surprised with.
And it's, I guess maybe we should take that mindset in the seasons like coming forward, because it's like if we're always like expecting A or B and then we get C or D and it's not to what we expected, it's always gonna put a damper on like how we view a certain season.
The tough thing about that is that with previous seasons, I know that there's going to be at least a couple like good shows, because either like, you know, I've read it, or I know the source material, or it's been hyped up or something. So I am expecting it to be of like a similar or like high quality. With this season, there was a couple shows that I had heard about, or at least a couple that I, you know, knew were supposed to be coming out, but didn't really hear much else about it.
Well,
so yeah, going forward, maybe we set our expectations very low.
We set it low, although we have to set our expectations high for whatever season Chainsaw Man comes in.
Oh my god, I think it's gonna be like winter. I think that's what people are saying.
2022
fall or winter.
2022 winter. Oh, that's gonna be good. I already told you like who I thought like some characters to be voiced by. I think in Higehiro, the main guy Yoshida like fits kind of what my kind of expectation of Denji's voice to be like. There are other characters that have a similar voice type that I think fit it as well, but it's kind of like the similar voice type I think Denji's character fits.
I think it'd be a pretty good fit. Honestly, like it would be weird, but like Fushiguro from Jujutsu Kaisen would be Aki.
Yeah, I think that would work as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, man, I can't wait for Jujutsu Kaisen to be an anime. Or no, Jujutsu
Kaisen knockoff.
The Jujutsu Kaisen knockoff. That's what I would say. That Chainsaw Man to be an anime. Man, that's gonna be so good.
Yeah, I'm excited. Supposedly, the part 2 is supposed to be coming out soon.
Oh man, any more Chainsaw Man, I know I'll be happy.
Yeah, same. I'm really excited.
God, it's gonna be so good. Ironically, I had seen a YouTube video, so it's like there's this YouTuber Matt versus Japan where he's like this white guy that like is fluent in Japanese. Like he did like this thing like a few days ago where he put a video where he was like going around New York City with I don't know if you're familiar with the YouTuber Xiaoma, but like he's the guy that always posts videos of like white guy surprises a bunch of native Chinese speakers by speaking completely fluent Chinese.
Yeah.
So it's like they were doing like a collaboration video where he's like he was going around doing what he does, but like speaking Japanese, but like he was in New York City, like in like a Kinokuniya, like just like Japanese bookstore. and just like speaking Japanese to like random strangers, but like obviously they're like just random like New Yorkers. Just like, I don't speak Japanese, but like he actually like runs into this guy that he's just like, oh, like you like Japanese, but like the guy's just like, oh, I'm looking for Chainsaw Man, like just, like trying to like talk to him in Japanese, but like he's clearly like fluent in Japanese, but like it ends up he's like Chinese, and then like, you know, like the guy tells Xiaoma, it's like, oh, like this guy is actually Chinese, and he's like, oh, and he's like speaks to him in like Mandarin, and then he's like like, oh, like where are you from? And he's like, oh wait, you're Xiaoma, and then he's like, oh shit, yeah. So it was like pretty funny, but like I just thought like, oh man, Chainsaw Man is that like super popular because it's like people are looking for Chainsaw Man like just in New York, but they're not even like Japanese. Like it's just like people like looking for the manga. Even though...
it's crazy. Somebody posted on the manga subreddit that they were like looking for one of the volumes of Chainsaw Man and they couldn't find it, and people were commenting like, yeah, like good luck, like it's pretty much sold out everywhere, and the anime hasn't even aired, so
yeah,
you know, you can only expect that they're going to recirculate the first couple of volumes, but man, like sales are going to go through the roof.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to, so it's like my sister's in Australia, and like she's already like bought a few manga in Japanese that I'm gonna read, but like even though I tried to read the first chapter of Chainsaw Man in Japanese, and like it was a bit more above my level of like grammar and vocabulary. I kind of want to be like, hey, you want to pick up Chainsaw Man?
gotta get
just to have it, even though I know the story and like I've read the first part, and it's like just the whole aspect of it. It's just like Chainsaw Man is just like just so good.
It's great.
Chainsaw Man, read Chainsaw Man.
The not so subliminal messaging.
read Chainsaw Man.
Just insert that throughout the episode. Read Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, I need to have a button on the soundboard for that. It's like, read Chainsaw Man.
This week in manga news, read Chainsaw
Man. All right. Well, I think that about wraps up this week's episode. Next week, Big 200. You got to be excited for that. We'll do something special, whether it's the whole barrel-aged beers. We'll think something up this week. It is a pretty big milestone.
Yeah.
We should probably do more than we did for the 100th episode.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't even remember what we did for the 100th episode. That's what makes it so bad.
I think we talked about like how our anime tastes have changed or something.
Yeah. I think like I played some clips from like our previous like 100 episodes, but like I kind of don't want to do that again.
Yeah, let's do something crazy.
Yeah. We got to do something wild.
Yeah. Like drink all of our barrel-aged beers.
I don't think that's the type of wild I'm talking about.
I'm kidding. We'll have to come up with something. We'll come up with something big. Yeah. It's exciting.
All right. Well, as you can tell, this has been episode 199 of the Anime on Draft podcast.
Sorry, I just threw this in there, but I forgot to remind you, the Demon Slayer Mugen Train movie is supposed to be in theaters on the 23rd
of this month. That's in 3 days.
Yeah. Don't know if I'm going to go and see it, but for anybody who's out there who's adventurous enough, you know, be careful. But yeah, it'll be in theaters.
Do it in moderation.
Yeah.
I hope it gets streamed because then I'll watch it.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, Demon Slayer movie, April 23rd in theaters. Be safe. Do your own judgments. Remember, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Yep. Go be safe about it. Get vaccinated. But anyways, this week we had the Waldo's special triple IPA 2021 edition from Lagunitas. If you do like this beer and what we've talked about it, go and find it. Get it before it's gone. But our website, animeondraft.com, you can find our podcast, any posts related to it. You can find our Discord, animeondraft.com/Discord. Join us. We have a rewatch every Friday for Higurashi Kai going on. We're in the last arc, and if you have been a fan of Higurashi and want to re-experience it, or you want to experience Higurashi before delving into Higurashi Go, then by all means. Like, I recently finished watching Go and was fucking mind fucked. There's so many things that happened, and I was like, oh shit, like it ties into like these different things, and yeah, it's kind of cool. But anyways, our Twitter is at animeondraft.com, Instagram animeondraft podcast, and then if you search for Anime on Draft on any podcast service of your choice, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, you name it, go and find us. Our YouTube channel is Anime on Draft. You can go and find us live like we are right now on twitch.tv/animeondraft. But if you are with us right now live, please go ahead and hit that follow button if you have not already. Turn that bell on for notifications to be known when we go live. We're currently streaming Tuesdays around 7 p.m. Pacific time. But yeah, any collaborations, other aspects you want to share with us, go ahead and contact us on our contact email, contact@animeondraft.com, or hit us up on our contact page on our website, animeondraft.com. That links us to that email, and we do have a survey to fill out. So if you are an audio-only listener listening to us on SoundCloud or your podcast service of choice, you can look at our episode description. There's a link in the description right under all of our timestamps for the episode. But go ahead, fill that out. It helps us find out your thoughts and opinions on our podcast. Maybe we'll improve upon our format or any suggestions you have. But if you are listening to us on a podcast service of choice, if you could give us a review, nice 5-star review, it would be great. Help us give some visibility on each platform. And yeah, but cool. That has been this episode of the Anime on Draft podcast. So I guess I'll bid you adieu and say goodbye.
All right, bye everyone.
Very well.